Is gold a good investment now? My guest today is Chief Investment Officer at Blackstone Commodity Group, Mukarram Mawjood, who is going to talk to us about the relationship between gold and the stock market and why he recommends physical metals over paper.
Warren Buffett bought $545 million worth of gold just a couple months ago when gold was almost at 2000. Ray Dalio, who's the biggest hedge fund manager of Bridgewater Associates, they bought $340 million worth of gold. Why would they buy gold if they thought the stock market could go higher?
I'm your host, Kiana Danial, and you're watching the Invest Diva movement, where we're moving towards helping 1 million moms start investing on their own by the year 2025. Let's go talk about investing in gold. Welcome, Mukarram. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kiana. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
I'm super excited to have you here because the topic that we're going to cover today is something that I don't normally actually personally invest in. So just let's get to the point. Is gold a good investment right now?
Yeah, I think so, especially if you think about how much volatility is there in the market. Because if you look at the time period leading up to the elections, I mean, everyone expects that to be volatile, right? But even after the elections, you can see some what I call nonsensical volatility. And what that usually means is when a market behaves like I call a 2-year-old child, you have to pay attention to a topping behavior, whether it's on the top side of it or the bottom side of it. If it behaves and gives you what I call nonsensical volatility, you might see a big downtrend coming in the stock market, especially with the new Biden policies. So gold could be an amazing investment. And it's already shown you its hand because all of 2020 this year, and the middle of 2019, when no one was paying attention to it, you saw how gold made new multi-month highs when the stock market was making new record highs. That's what I call the canary in the gold mine, because that tells us that the stock market could come down big and gold could go up significantly.
So the correlation between the stock market and gold is basically reverse.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the larger directional correlation, we call it an inverse relationship between stocks and gold. Whenever you see the equity markets as a whole go up, you'll see gold come down. When equity markets come down, or they have gone up for a significant period of time, like now, 11 plus years, then you'll see gold going up. Now, what happens, and what's interesting, I think a lot of your viewers will benefit from, is there's a small time period towards the latter end of the bull market run in an equity market where you'll see gold go up as equities go up. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes in that initial stage, when the stock market starts to come down, like for example, in March of this year, remember that 10,000 point drop, you saw gold drop along with it. Now, sometimes people don't pay attention to that, but that's very, very important, Kiana. That's what we call margin-related liquidation. When that happens, what you see is the stock market can have a bounce like it did in the last few months. And then when the stock market goes back down, gold will not go lower. It'll turn around and go higher. And we've seen that before. This happened in 2008 when gold went up from 2008 to 2011 over 300%. Silver went up more than 400% as the stock market dropped more than 50%.
So is that because people typically consider gold a safe haven?
Yeah, gold has always been a safe haven, right? Gold's always been a safe haven. But here's the interesting thing, especially for younger viewers in your channel and, independent women and people who want to continue to strengthen their financial futures. Gold has always been a safe haven, but in the last 10 to 12 years, it's acting as a safe haven asset, but it's giving you aggressive returns. That's the difference. Because think about it, right? Gold is a safe haven, but in 2008, it went from $685 an ounce to $1,921 an ounce in about 2.5 years. So it's a safe haven that gave you aggressive returns. This is the reason why I believe, and this is something that's very important that your viewers should focus on, Warren Buffett bought $545 million worth of gold just a couple months ago when gold was almost at 2000. Ray Dalio, who's the biggest hedge fund manager of Bridgewater Associates, they bought $340 million worth of gold. Why would they buy gold if they thought the stock market could go higher?
So that's an interesting point. And of course, gold has always been a topic, but now we have something called gold 2.0 that is very hot, and that's cryptocurrency. So personally, I've actually been investing in Bitcoin instead. Have you had any exposure to that, or you just still believe that gold is the asset that you should be sticking to, especially when it comes to volatility in the stock market, to kind of hedge against it?
I love that question, okay? Especially because I love the way you say, crypto is gold 2.0. And yesterday I was on the phone when I was driving when one of my associates called me and she was telling me, hey, I think cryptocurrency is the gold for the young people. It's very interesting to me. And here's why I say this, because we had clients as well as we were watching the market when Bitcoin was in that, 1,000, 2,000 level. And then suddenly it went to 4,000 and then went to 18,000 within a space of a few months. So we were part of it. We watched that happen. And this is why I think since then, a lot of confidence has come to the cryptocurrency market and a lot of different cryptos have come in play. But if you look at Ethereum and if you look at things like Chainlink or Litecoin, you'll see that these have a lot of legs going forward. So I do believe that, and there's two things I want to stress on this. I do believe that cryptos will act as the gold for young investors, and it'll be a place where you'd like to protect your wealth. I wouldn't call it a safe haven, but it's a way you can protect your wealth. But here's the next thing that's very interesting to me. I've been in it trading for 15 years, okay? And in the last bull market in gold from 2008 to 2011, many precious metals buyers, like you're talking precious metals buyers are a very like a niche kind of group of people. They never mentioned cryptocurrencies. They would never talk about it. But on this bull market run, since middle of 2019, a lot of physical precious metals buyers are talking about cryptos and they're getting they're warming up to that new asset. And that's why I think it'll be big. So it's a great question.
All right. So you're actually I thought you were going to get into a fight about it. So that's good that you're actually on board with that as well. But do you recommend physical metals over paper though?
Okay, good question. Just to follow up on the Bitcoin, I'm actually diversifying right now
You are, okay.
Cryptos. I am, because I think that would be an asset that will benefit a lot from the Biden presidency as well, or whatever happens with the elections going forward. But gold will benefit a lot from it as well. Now, going back to this question, physical gold versus paper gold. A lot of the times when people come into physical gold, they come in because they're looking for that safe haven asset. They want to protect their wealth and they want to hold on to something, which I think is absolutely true. Okay. Now, here are two things to keep in mind. Paper gold, or when you look at gold miners or gold equity stocks, right? Like ETFs, like GLD or SLV for silver, or you look at miners. Here's always my disclaimer when I say this to people. If you're buying mining stocks, because you think that the price of gold is going to go higher, be careful with that analysis. Here's why it is. A mining stock is still a stock and it's a company that can have a plethora of reasons why it may not perform as the price of gold goes up. Like if the management team is bad, if their financials are bad, or because of the coronavirus pandemic, if their way of handling their mining operations is not as good as another company, one miner could go down, another miner could perform, but gold prices could continue to go higher, right? So don't be surprised when that happens. So keep that in mind. The next thing is if you've been trading for a while, you'll understand that physical gold ownership gives you some tax advantages as well, based on the type of physical metals that you're owning. And this is why I wanted to cover with your viewers. A lot of people have this misconception that physical gold is difficult to buy and then difficult to sell. But that's not true at all. Like with a company like ours, you can give us one call and we can do either a physical delivery of metal for you, or you can have physical metals inside of your retirement account, where the metals are held at the Delaware Depository. We can go into that later. But the reason I say this is because when you look at the curve in the market, there is a time when you should accumulate physical metals, which is in the beginning stages of a bull market. Okay. Then when the physical prices have gone up significantly, like if gold American Eagle spreads are very high or silver American Eagle spreads are really high, then it could be a time where you shift on to your miners or you shift on to futures contracts. But remember, there's more risk management involved in that latter part of the curve than in the beginning portion of the curve.
Right. So yeah, that absolutely is a misconception. Or I mean, even for everyone is like, okay, physical gold, are we going to get actual gold bars and put it somewhere in our house? But that, as you say, is not a case. And what you mentioned also about the company, if you're paper versus actual precious metal, is absolutely true, because when you're investing in paper, you're actually investing in the company. You have to understand a lot more things than just the precious metals performance and price action. So these are excellent points. So Mukarram, I know that you kind of threw it in over here that you kind of help people invest in precious metals. Can you tell our viewers how they can, either through you or themselves, really get started with gold?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things, right? So my company, I have two companies. One is Blackstone Commodity Group, which is where I'm chief investment officer of. And that's where we focus on alternative assets. Okay. And our philosophy is being diversified in physical alternative assets could be something big going into the future. With Bullionite, which is my, like the trading education or education arm of my company, that's why we educate you on how to learn how to trade and then understand how to navigate risk. And a similarity is a little bit with your coaching, what you're doing. That's why I believe together as a group, there's a lot that we can do for your viewers and your followers. With physical metals, we help our clients when you want to get out of the stock market right now. If you have a stock account or you have a retirement account and you want to protect that without it losing 30-40% of its value, you can contact us. We can help you set up a physical metals transaction where if it's outside of an IRA, then it's what we call a direct delivery purchase, where we can send you the coins or the gold directly to your house, or we can keep it at the Delaware depository for you. If you have a retirement account, and this is why it's very important because the market's up for 11 plus years, if you want to protect that, then you can liquidate out of that account, do a transfer into what's called a self-directed IRA, no taxes, no penalties, and then we'll purchase the gold coins and silver coins inside of that, and then have that in the Delaware depository for you. Here's what's great about it. When the market goes up, like for example, when the stock market comes down and then gold goes up a lot, you now get to take part in a market that might have a significant upside, and you have absolutely no capital gains because it's inside of a retirement account.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mukarram. How can our viewers find you?
The best ways to reach me is, one, you can go to our website, blackstonecommodity.com, or you can go to bullionite.com, bullionite.com. And you can also, I mean, if you can put my phone number in there, you can reach me directly, 949-200-7047.
Awesome. We're going to put that actually in the description area of this video. Thank you so much, Mukarram. You guys, you heard him. I want to actually know, have you guys been investing in gold, or are you planning to invest in gold? What is your position on gold? Do you prefer gold versus cryptocurrency? I would love to hear from you. Go ahead in the comments and let me know. And if you like this video, share it and like it. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Invest Diva movement. Thanks again, Mukarram, for joining us.
Thank you, Kiana. I appreciate it. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Take care. We do have a quick tradition that we have with our Invest Diva episodes and the guests, is that I ask you to make a silly face.
A silly face?
Yes. On a count of three. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. All right. That's a classic. Very classic. Thank you.
Thank you.